I don't know how everyone here feels about Barack Obama, but this is someone that I really admired when he ran for president in '08. I had a lot of hope that Barack Obama was going to make a change. So he was running as a change candidate. And I was incredibly wrong about Barack Obama. And since then, I have been very cautious about presidential candidates, particularly those that say all the right things and move. It seems like they're moving all in the right ways. And Barack Obama wasn't just a great speaker. He was also very charismatic. And so I have become more cautious because of Barack Obama. So I have to start with that first. And now Barack Obama is trying to help Kamala Harris on her campaign trail, particularly recently in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And for some reason, he thinks that his best way of doing that is by scolding Black men. Because Kamala Harris is not doing well with Black male voters compared to her counterparts. And I will show you those numbers, right? So he appears to what is supposed to be a Kamala campaign event. And I just want you to hear the way that he speaks to everyone in the room, but what he says to the men, to the Black men. Listen to this.
Communities is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
So he's saying we're not seeing, let me go back a little bit because I want to turn up the volume. Thank goodness for the captions, but hold on.
Same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
So Barack Obama is there to tell them that we're not seeing the same type of turnout with the Black community for support for Kamala Harris the same way that we did when I was running. Gee, I wonder why. Part of this is on Kamala Harris, but part of this is also on you, Barack Obama. Because honestly, the reason why every other, person of color candidate that comes after you is going to be met with a side eye by a lot of people is because of you. And you talked a good game when you were campaigning and you said, yes, we can. And it's time for hope and change. But the moment that you got into the White House, you showed us you were no different than the people who came before you. You were more willing to go along with what the Republican Party wanted. You wanted to be in the center of things, even though you ran on some populist messages at that point in time, which is what won over a lot of us younger voters. The point that I'm trying to make is this: the bar has been raised. So now any other candidate that comes after Barack Obama, whether it's Bathtub Greens Kamala Harris, whether it's, who else was thinking about running at one point? I think it was the governor of Maryland, whether it's whoever else comes after you, that is a person of color that tries to say they're a Black American, whatever. We can go down that road. We already done that on the show. They are going to have a much harder time than you because you screwed up. You have made it so much more difficult and harder for the person who comes after you. This is why sometimes it's not good to be first. And if you look at the numbers, you will see that since Barack Obama's presidency, no other presidential candidate has been able to garner the same amount of Black voter support since his presidency. Black voter support for the Democratic Party decreased since Barack Obama. Now let's go on because he's going to scold Black men.
Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
More pronounced with the brothers. So more pronounced with Black men. Okay. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think it is misogyny? Because I have data that shows it's not. What do you think it is? Why do you think it is that more Black men are not supporting Kamala Harris? Because I can give you a couple of reasons. Number one is the economy. Number two is immigration. And I can say these things to people that are Democrats, and a lot of them don't want to hear it. The vote blue, no matter who, people don't want to hear it. They just want you to shut up and get in line and support the person that they tell you to support. So here's Barack Obama to scold black men. And what kills me is the way he says it. He kind of has this approach as though like he's their dad or something. I'm like, who are you? You walk into the room like you're their dad and they need to be reprimanded.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you.
She didn't grow up like us. She doesn't, and I'm not a black man, but I'm black. She didn't grow up like us. He's going to go on to say understands the struggles and the she doesn't. She didn't. We don't have. So it just, how many of you were in a family for talking to black guys real quick? How many of you were in a family where both your father and your mother were in PhD programs? And she can't help where she came from, but let me make a point. We're in PhD programs. Your father taught at Stanford University, top school, private institution. You were able to go live in Montreal and go to one of the best schools in Montreal. And then you were able to, how many of you grew up that way? If you grew up that way, let me know in the chat. Just type in, I did. If you didn't, say, I didn't. So you see, this is the problem with the Barack Obamas and the Kamala Harrises. They're not like us. And I'm not trying to be mean, and people will hear that and they'll take it the wrong way. But no, we did not grow. Most of us did not grow up that way. My parents didn't have a college education. And in fact, a lot of the people that I grew up with, their parents didn't have a college education either. I was the first one in my family to graduate from college. Did she really grow up like us? No, she didn't. And that's fine. But don't say that. I don't get this. I don't get it.
Understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. Who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land.
And I'll go to the second part. But first of all, again, to point something else out. No, like they came here already with money. Her mom was from a higher caste system. She had money to pay for PhD program. So what do you mean she knows the same struggle? She doesn't. Her family didn't go through Jim Crow. My family did. Her family wasn't didn't have to do the Great Migration. My family did. My parents, my grandparents migrated from the Carolinas to Baltimore because that's where the jobs were. Her family didn't do. What do you mean? That's not true. If you want people to vote for Kamala Harris, you need to come up with better talking points instead of she grew up like you, because she did not. In fact, and here's another thing, which a lot of times people won't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you. Okay. When I was in high school, the high school that I attended at the time was the only high school within that area. And because it was the only high school, we had a lot of students at the school. Later on, they built a high school called Jack Britt. This is in North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina area. But at the time, they didn't have Jack Britt. So because of that, we had people that attended my high school that were from different income. There were some really rich kids that went to my high school, but there were also poor kids that went to my high school. And you know what I noticed? Because this was the first time I had seen this actually when we moved to North Carolina. This was the very first time that I went to school with poor white kids. Some of those poor white kids that I went to school with, while some of us lived in homes, they lived in the trailer park. They didn't grow up like Kamala Harris. And I still keep in touch with some of them today. Thank goodness for Facebook, because I moved around a lot. But I still keep in touch with some of them today. And they are the ones that have the blue collar jobs. And they are the ones that feel that they were neglected and left behind politically in this country. And especially by the Democratic Party. These are people that were Democrats when I was in high school. They're not Democrats now. That's because the party changed. The party moved away from that and it became the party of the academic elite. So the problem with the Democratic Party is you guys keep putting these people in front of us that you say represent us, but they don't represent a lot of us. They don't represent a lot of us at all. And it just, this is the thing. Barack Obama, too, the way you grew up, a lot of us did not grow up that way. And even for me, the only reason I was able to attend school abroad is because my parents were military. Other than that, I would have been growing up in Baltimore, Maryland, just like my parents did. So you have to understand, we did not grow up that way. A lot of us did not. Who are you talking to? Here's the second part.
You found out was just making stuff up. You at least give him a talking to. And you sure want to put him in charge of anything. So, you know, I didn't mean to get so serious. But when I hear about this stuff, I start feeling like we don't have enough of a sense of what's at stake here. These aren't ordinary times, and these are not ordinary elections. You're lucky Michelle's not here.
He said, be glad Michelle's not here. So again, these are the people that are supposed to be out there trying to get the voters in the campaign. So he's telling them we're not where we're supposed to be. And I told you guys that they were the polls that corporate media is showing you, what they're showing you, corporate media. I told you the support that they're showing you for Kamala Harris is exaggerated. I've been telling you guys this since day one, because I know, because I have my ear to the ground, because I talk to people on the ground. They don't. So there's that, right? So now they're finally admitting like, we're not where we need to be. And we're definitely not where we need to be with black men. So he's like, so that needs to change. What are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you? Economy and immigration. Top two issues for a lot of black male voters. Economy and immigration. You have a candidate out here running on, I'm not Donald Trump. Second of all, nobody voted for her in the Democratic Party primary because she didn't run in the Democratic Party primary. So you guys just put this person out there that was selected, and now you're mad because she's not getting the same numbers that Barack Obama got, that Hillary Clinton got, that Joe Biden got. You just created this person. Nobody, and this cannot be said enough. Nobody voted for Kamala Harris in the Democrat Party primary. And the fact that more progressives are not saying this is absolutely ridiculous. The same people who were angry about the DNC cheating Bernie Sanders twice are silent about the fact that Kamala Harris was simply selected and everybody's just supposed to go along with this like it's no big deal. That is a problem. LaShondra says, Sabby don't like the educated. I am educated, Sabby. I mean, LaShondra. I said Sabby. I am educated, LaShondra. But I don't like this turning away from people who are poor, who are lower income. I'm so sick of them talking about Goldman Sachs. I'm sick of them talking about, I went to Harvard, I went to Stanford, I went to Yale. Who gives a damn? The majority of Americans will never have that experience. The majority of Americans don't care what school you went to. But that is what the Democratic Party has become. So they threw this person in front of you. And they want you to just take this person in, give them a big hug, and go out there and vote for them. She's not even running on any real damn issues. You're just supposed to go vote for her because she's a woman and she says she's a black woman. A couple years ago, she said she was an Indian woman. Get out of here. I wasn't born yesterday. I don't care what color she is. Nobody would even be talking about this right now if you guys didn't push it. You pushed that narrative. You could have just said, Biden's going to step aside. We're going to have an open primary, which apparently Barack Obama, you wanted. You wanted an open primary. You didn't even want to come out and readily endorse Kamala Harris, but you sitting there to scold other people for not coming out to support her? You wanted an open primary. All these people just go along with what the donor class want. And I'm going to tell you something else. Barack Obama, you ain't got the same kind of pull that you used to have, bud. Because now you don't bring that same type of energy anymore because people see that you're a fraud, because people know what you did to the black community when you were president. And don't ever come at me and say, oh, well, you just giving him a hard time. No. Maybe part of the reason why people are more skeptical of this candidate that you guys selected and just put out there is not just because of her record, is not just because she's a part of the current administration that's been part of the problems, is not just because she wants to give unwavering support to an apartheid genocidal state. It is also because during your presidency, you sat right there and you bailed out Wall Street instead of the American people, and black wealth tanked under your presidency. So excuse me if we are not willing to sit up there and just smile at any other person that you put in front of us that you say is one of us and go along with it. Get out of here.
She really talking serious about this stuff. So, but here's the good news, right? The good news is that not only as Attorney General and as a senator and as a vice president and now as the nominee for the Democratic Party, Kamala has made us proud. She has been out there. If you doubt that, I hope y'all watched the debate because that wasn't close.
This is sad.
Like Mike Tyson. Back in the day, you know, it was like, oh man, stop that now. So we know she can do the job.
Do we?
And she's got an outstanding partner in Tim Walz. And so we can take pride and feel good about the nominee. This isn't just a matter of.
Okay, so as you can see, there is some struggle there, right? And this is why they bring Obama out and he brings it up. And you're going to see the frustration here when he spoke at this rally here in Pittsburgh as well. He's really frustrated because Donald Trump is starting to pull ahead. And I warned you guys that this would happen. Now, this still doesn't mean, and I got to say this because people like to clip my stuff and try to do little sound bites. I got to say this. This still doesn't mean that she cannot win. But when I show you these numbers, what you're going to see is that she has a long way to go to secure a win, right? Listen to this.
It's been one of the most disturbing aspects of this election season about Trump's rise in politics is how we seem to have set aside the values that people like Dan stood for and Bob stood for and that I was taught. And
so here's another problem. Now it's all about values. So Barack Obama still thinks this is 2008. It's not. It's 2024. And people are poor and people are broke and people have been evicted. The homelessness rate has increased and the minimum wage hasn't changed in years. You guys don't even know how to run on the economy. You know why? Then this is going to be a problem for Kamala Harris because she's a part of the current administration. So if they would have had a true, real, open 2024 Dem primary, that could have been avoided. You had candidates that were running through the Democratic Party that were running against Joe Biden, and the DNC shut it down. RFK, Dean Phillips, Marianne Williamson, not my picks. But the DNC said, no, Joe Biden is our candidate. That's how you got in this situation. And now you want people to just take whatever you have thrown in front of us. Kamala Harris wasn't a strong candidate when she ran for president in 2020. That's why she didn't go far in the Dem primary that time. So this time you let her skip the primary and you just make her the nominee. And now he sounds like he want to cry because he can't figure it out. I don't understand what's happening here. How is it even like this again? How is it possible that Trump even has a chance now? I don't understand this at all because you guys never fix the core issues. And even under your presidency, we want to go back to this Roe v. Wade thing. Barack Obama ran on codifying Roe v. Wade, said it would be the first thing that he did when he got into office. Won the White House, decided to change his mind. No, I am not going to pursue that. I am not going to do that. Tried to put the blame on Joe Lieberman. But Ro Khanna told me on this show himself that Barack Obama could have ended the filibuster, and that's how you would have been able to codify Roe v. Wade into law. So that would have never happened. Does everybody get this? That would have never happened. He can't figure it out. He's like, how the hell did we go from me to Trump, then back to the Dems with Biden to here it is, Trump and Kamala are neck and neck. And I'm going to tell you, I believe in some of these states, I don't think it's neck and neck. I think that Trump is further ahead in Michigan than what they're telling you. Trump voters are underpolled. But the reality is it's because of you. We're back here, Barack Obama, because of you. You gave us Donald Trump. You let black wealth take under your presidency because you wanted to bail out Wall Street. Obamacare was a freaking disaster. Let's just keep it real. Did I expect you to fix everything? No, but I also didn't expect you to go to Flint, Michigan and sit up there and pretend to drink the dirty water in front of a room of black people, then get back on your plane and hop back to DC. That's how we got here. You guys avoiding the working class and you want to be around all your Wall Street and your Harvard buddies and walking away from the everyday people. God damn it. Even Bill Clinton got this right. Even Bill Clinton reached out to working class people. You guys couldn't even figure that out. Hillary Clinton couldn't even figure out to campaign in the West Belt. Hillary Clinton couldn't even follow what her own husband did for campaigning strategies. And then she want to point fingers at Jill Stein and everybody else. No, it's you. That's how we got here.
those didn't used to be Republican Democratic values. I mean, it used to be we'd have arguments about tax policy or foreign policy, but we didn't have arguments about whether you should tell the truth or not. We didn't make excuses for people who just violated basic norms of treating people fairly and with respect. I mean,
Now he sound like he want to cry.
Just last week, I talked about this. We had one of the deadliest hurricanes in American history. The beautiful town of Asheville, North Carolina, one of my favorite places in the country. Spent time there, amazing people. Devastated. Hundreds of people killed. And President Biden and Vice President Harris were down there meeting with local officials and comforting families, asking how they could help. And Donald Trump at a rally just started making up stories about the Biden administration withholding aid from Republican areas and siphoning off aid to give to undocumented immigrants. Just made the stuff up.
You made up things too, Obama. And Kamala's been making up things and Biden's been making up things too. All of y'all been lying about October 7th. All of you guys have been lying. But let's get back to what happened in North Carolina in the hurricane. Yeah, people died. People are unhoused and people need help. And the Biden administration gave billions to Israel. Let's talk about that. Zelensky walks into this country and can walk out with a check just like that. So who are you? What are you doing? Donald Trump is not in office right now. Biden is in office and Kamala Harris is the vice president. You pointing fingers at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not in office right now. It shouldn't even be, it should have never even been this close. Should have never even been. If the Biden administration was doing such a great job, there is no way that Donald Trump would even be polling the way that he's polling right now. He's polling that way because they're not doing a great job. And me saying that doesn't mean I support Trump. I don't. I am voting for Jill Stein. But I can also see the writing on the fucking wall, which shows me that people need money. People need a living wage. People need affordable housing that they can actually pay for. People want the genocide to stop. This isn't happening under Donald Trump. This is happening under the current administration.
Everybody knew it wasn't true. Even local Republicans said it was not true. And now the people of Florida are dealing with another devastating storm. And I want you to watch what happens over the next few days, just like the last time. You're going to have leaders who try to help, and then you have a guy who will just lie about it to score political points, and this has consequences. Because people are afraid and they've lost everything, and now they're trying to figure out, how do I apply for help?
Why do they have to even apply for help in the first damn place? Okay, we've been here before. When this was happening after Hurricane Katrina under George W. Bush, Democrats were criticizing George W. Bush administration, and rightfully so. But now that this is happening under a Democrat administration, people not allowed to criticize it. So I don't, the partisanship irks me.
And some of them may be discouraged from getting the help they need. The idea of intentionally trying to deceive people in their most desperate and vulnerable moments. And my question is, when did that become okay?
After your presidency? Was that too mean? Was that too harsh, guys? Was that bad? Not good timing? Seriously, after his presidency, that's when it became okay.
I'm not looking for applause right now. I want to ask Republicans out there, people who are conservative, who didn't vote for me, who didn't agree with me. I had friends who disagreed with me on every issue. When did that become okay? Why would we go along with that? I mean, if your coworkers acted like that, they wouldn't be your coworkers very long. If you're in business and somebody you're doing business with just outright lies and manipulates, you stop doing business with them.
Businessmen lie and manipulate all the time, Barack Obama. I don't know what you were talking about, but you can see what's happening here, right? Like, obviously, you can see the pain in his face. Him here trying to help Kamala Harris with her campaign. And I'm going to show you some numbers because I really don't like this whole thing about people saying that it's misogyny. We'll get to the numbers in a second. Charles Preston said something, and I think this is important. During Obama's years in office, there were multiple mass shootings and viral police killings. Not once did Obama lecture police officers or white males. His hallmark is using his identity to denigrate Black men publicly because everyone loves it. Right? This is a very important point. Very important point. Everyone, I think people forget this sometimes, not everyone, but I think people forget that when we talk about Black Lives Matter movement, that started under Barack Obama's presidency, not under Donald Trump's. And he's the one that militarized the police and sent them into Ferguson. Did policing get better under Barack Obama? Did police stop shooting and killing unarmed Black men under Barack Obama? No, not at all. And Nina Turner is even giving him a warning about this. Now, she was on CNN earlier sounding the alarm.
They need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are Black men being lectured to? Why are Black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him.
That's where she loses me there. The part where she says she has a lot of love for Barack Obama. I don't, again, because the way that Barack Obama's economic policies and decisions during his presidency really hurt the Black community. And a lot of the people that lost their homes during the 2008 housing crisis were Black elders who never got their homes back, and their homes were bought by BlackRock. I don't like the fact that Barack Obama went to Flint, Michigan and pretended to drink dirty water in front of a room of Black people that were suffering because of the water. So I don't know why she says that. I don't have a lot of love for him, but listen to this other part.
To single out Black men is wrong. And some of the Black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to Black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from Black women.
So that is a good point there that she's pointing out. Why are you not lecturing other groups as well? Why are you doing this towards Black men? And so a lot of people point to it's misogyny. It's misogyny is the reason why Black men don't want to support Kamala Harris. I'm going to show you some numbers that show you that's not the case. Because when we look at the data, because you know me, I had to pull up the graph. We got to go to the charts. Let's go back to the last time a female was the Dem nominee. That was 2016 with Hillary Clinton. I want to show you again, when we look at the demographics, of course, blue is Hillary, red is Trump. Let's go to Black men. Notice 81% of Black men voted for Hillary Clinton. 81%. 14. Now you'll see there's some of them did vote for Trump. You'll see that. But Hillary was able to get 81% of the Black male vote. Why is that a problem for Kamala? According to that NAACP poll, Kamala Harris is below that with Black men. She does pretty well. She's in the 70s. I remember she's in the 70s with Black male voters over 50. But for Black male voters under 50, she's in the 60s. So she's not even according to the NAACP poll, she's not even at 80% with Black men. Hillary Clinton received over 81% of the Black male vote. So If it is misogyny is the reason why Kamala's not doing well with black male voters, why did those guys vote for Hillary Clinton? Maybe it's just Kamala. People don't like it when you bring back these old numbers. And see, they can do this on CNN. They can show you. They can show you exactly what I'm showing you. How she did, how she performed. She had 98% support from black women. 65% from Hispanic men, 67% from Hispanic women. So I'm going to show you what has changed, though. The struggle with the Democratic Party is this group here, the non-college grad, that has moved over more in favorable to the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party, which I said before. You guys bailed on the working class people, the everyday Joe Schmoes. And the Democratic Party here, as you'll see, are picking up a lot of college graduates among non-white college grads right here. And she had, oh, sorry, I said that backwards. Yeah, non-college grad, right? And then college grads. But you'll notice that Trump got more of that support from non-college grads. So these are things that people need to take into consideration. And when I tell you that the hype for Kamala Harris, I keep telling you it was manufactured. I want you to hear what Michael Tracy explained on Glenn Greenwald's show. Kamala Harris was at this Latino voter town hall, which apparently was supposed to be, according to Michael Tracy, because he was there, it was supposed to be Latino voters that were undecided. Listen to this.
Oh, there's actually one clip that we do have that we're going to play. I think the one that you wanted, but the rest are going to go on locals just because there's a lot of them we can't show. All right, well, let's play this clip that Michael's yapping about.
Yeah, I was decided before, but a lot of people just wasn't.
So you were already decided before you came?
It was very... yes.
You were? Okay. So were you an undecided voter, or did you know?
I already know I was going to go for Kamala before then, and now that just kind of like solidified it. So I'm already convinced.
So you weren't undecided? So you're going to vote for her even before you went to her?
That's part of the reason why I wanted to go was just like to also fully, support her.
Okay.
By the way, did you chide him for mispronouncing her name because that bolsters white supremacy, or did you let that go?
I was too transfixed on his bombshell admission that he was already a Kamala
No, it is
Harris
amazing
supporter,
that they build this as a town hall
So does everybody hear this?
for undecided voters. And he said, not only had I already decided in advance that I was going to vote for Kamala, I specifically came to give her support.
So that was manufacturing consent. So those people were not undecided. Those were people who already supported Kamala. So you see how the media manufactures consent? You see the amount of propaganda that they're putting out in front of you? I told you, I tried to warn people. So Barack Obama, you screaming and getting frustrated because black men are not coming out to support Kamala Harris the same way they supported you. You're part of the problem. We know Kamala's part of the problem, but you're also part of the problem. So there's that. And you ain't got it like you used to have it. And black men don't owe you anything. They don't owe you their vote. Nobody owes a candidate their vote. This is what happens when you continue to take certain demographics for granted for so long. This is what happens.